The Washington Commanders are marching into Tampa Bay for Wild Card Weekend next week. Let's talk about it. Folks, welcome back to another video here on the Washington Football Maniacs channel. My name is Greg. I am your host, and of course, this channel is dedicated to news and commentary for the Washington Commanders. If you're down with that, please make sure that you have subscribed to this channel. When you do, also make sure you hit that notification bell so you won't miss any other video releases. So it took Marcus Mariota to spark a sluggish Washington Commanders offense against the Dallas Cowboys yesterday to secure not only their 12th win of the season, the first 12-win season since 1991, mind you, but to also secure the 6th seed for the NFL playoffs on the NFC side of things. Now, before you ask, because I know I've already seen this on social media, Jaden Daniels is just fine. He wasn't benched for poor play like you're going to hear it from Eagles fans and Cowboys fans and whoever. But he was pulled in order really to protect his health. He started having soreness in his leg, and Dan Quinn felt that it was prudent to go ahead and to pull him to keep him healthy and ready for the wild card spot. So again, I've been reading this on social media where people are going to say that, oh, he was benched. He was not benched. Come on, folks. If you think that this kid who has led his team to last-minute victories in the last few weeks would suddenly get benched for only putting up 3 points in the first half. And honestly, this is kind of how the last Dallas-Washington game felt like that's how the last one started anyway. And then you saw what happened toward the end of there. Honestly, a missed extra point away from at least tying the game, if not maybe eventually pulling it out. So he was not benched. Okay, let's just get that out of the way. But you know, as often as you see it in Washington, backup quarterbacks tend to come in off the bench and lead a spark, right? We've seen it so many times where you'll have a backup quarterback that comes in because, the starting quarterback is just, inefficient, whatever, or hurt, and that backup quarterback comes in and leads a spark. And that's what Marcus Mariota did yesterday. He led a spark, got that offense humming, and not only that, but his style of play is so similar to Jaden Daniels, and certainly that was by design with Adam Peters going out and finding a Marcus Mariota. That way, this is exactly what you want. When you pull your starting quarterback for whatever reason, you want to be able to have your backup quarterback to come in and pick up the offense and not make any changes. And that's the reason why that this worked so good yesterday, I think, for the Commanders. The Commanders now have won 5 straight to end the season, winning the most games they have won since their Super Bowl year. I think I mentioned that. And then, just put this in context now, okay? Yours truly was 16 years old back in 1991, right? And I proudly wore that long mullet, partying back, businesses in the front. And I also had this Tom Selleck type of mustache. Now, it wasn't as great as Tom Selleck's, but, I had this mustache. You've probably seen those pictures of the mullet guys on the internet, and the one guy, I think it was like a side profile where he's got the long black hair, it's all kind of dolled up in the front, it's long in the back, and he had the mustache. That's me. So anyway, that's what I was sporting the last time that Washington had won more than 11 or 12 games. So there you go. So here's what we do know. We know that Terry McLaurin broke the franchise record with the most TD catches in the season at 13. And he eclipsed a lot of Redskin legends on that, right? And so Terry is quickly becoming a legend himself, and as he should. He is, to me, Terry McLaurin has been the face of the franchise for the last few years. He's the only between him and Tress Way. I'll get it out in a second. Between him and Tress Way, the only two guys I believe left on that team that were actually part of the team when they were still the Redskins. So he's been there and he's been through a lot. And of course, what better fitting situation to see than Terry McLaurin scoring the game-winning touchdown to put the Washington Commanders in that 6th seed for good. They will be facing, of course, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers next week. And I tell you, I do feel like that we are going to see this quarterback wide receiver duo, Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin, for years to come. I think eventually it's going to rank up there with some of the legendary quarterback wide receiver combos. Guys like Montana Rice or I don't know, Aikman and Irvin, Kelly and Reed, guys like that. I feel like when it's all said and done, that's what you're going to see with Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin. I really do. I know a lot of people were in the first half, we were like, what has happened to Terry McLaurin? Well, nothing's happened with him. He came back and one of these guys is going to take over the game, right? It's either going to be Jaden Daniels or it's going to be Terry McLaurin or a combination. Now, of course, Jaden wound up sitting for most of that second half, but Terry McLaurin was still out there and he was going to get the ball to, so let me say this in English. He was going to get the ball one way or the other. He was going to find a way to get that ball. And of course, he won the game for us. Now, meanwhile, Philadelphia Eagles fans were salivating over the thought of facing the Commanders for a third time this season. And of course, this time being in a wild card playoff. I kept hearing it the whole time. It's like, oh, you're scared to play us. You're scared to play us. It really didn't matter who the Commanders were going to play in the postseason. They're bringing their A game no matter what. It was Rams, Eagles, Bucks, doesn't matter. They're coming to play. All right. Of course, Eagles have to hope that both teams win in the wild card spot in order for these two teams to have an opportunity to meet. Now, I don't know. I'd have to look at the brackets. I don't have the bracket in front of me right now, so I can't really tell you if, in fact, these two teams would be able to meet up like in the divisional round. It may be one of those things where it's set up to where if both teams continue to win, in order for them to meet each other, they would have to meet each other in the NFC conference title game. I want to say that's probably how that the Eagles would wind up meeting the Commanders if they are to play each other, but I'll have to see. I'm too lazy right now to look at the brackets, but I'll definitely let you know on that. So how do the Commanders now that we know that they're going to be playing against the Bucks, how do they match up against the Bucks? Well, I will say, from what I hear, the Bucks love to stack the line. They love to limit the running game. The joke's on them. Our running game has been limited in the past few weeks anyway. We just have really gotten a lot out of B-Rob, unfortunately. B-Rob he's really trailed off in the last few weeks. And our running game has just not been there. We've really had to rely on Jaden Daniels to run the football and be the leading rusher and quarterback in order to win football games. And that may continue to be a thing in the playoffs as well. The good thing, though, is we do have Austin Eckler back. He was back yesterday. It didn't really show up on the stats that much, but I think you always need that first game to kind of, after you've been out for a few weeks, you need that first game to just kind of come back and get your footing again. I expect him to be a much bigger part of the offense against the Bucks. So, that's how the Bucks beat you. They want you to be one-dimensional, and of course, their thinking is one-dimensional against Jaden Daniels. He's a rookie, right? But he hasn't really played like a rookie in the entire season. So, and he's already proven that he can put the team on his shoulders and will them to victory. So, it may not be such a great strategy. Maybe they do want the Commanders to be able to run the football more and shut down their receivers. Double team Terry, force the other receivers to have to pick up. But guys like Zacchaeus, who has played pretty well, he did have a couple of really bad drops, one in the end zone yesterday, but Diami Brown as well. He really has picked up his game. So, you double team Terry McLaurin, you still got some other guys who can beat you as well. They may not be what everybody's considering top tier wide receivers, but they are very, very much serviceable. So, I think though, honestly, if Tampa Bay does continue to kind of zero in on the running game, then who knows? Jaden Daniels, Terry McLaurin may have a huge day. We'll have to see about that. Washington, now they're on the defensive side. I'll say not ready for the playoffs. Right? Defense has struggled. Secondary has been terrible for the most part, outside of Mikey Sandstrill, and of course, the limited time that we have seen Marshawn Lattimore. Marshawn can't go. We're going to, of course, see a lot more Benjamin St-Juste, who always is going to, every single game, he's going to draw at least 2, if not 3, holding penalties or pass interference calls. And the sad thing is, a lot of times I've seen some of those calls not get called on other corners, but he's an easy target. He's the holding calls, I think, is what gets me more than anything else. But I think a lot of times he's had some pretty good pass defenses that are almost always called pass interference on him when they're not on others. So, but hopefully, we can get Marshawn Lattimore healthy enough to play. We need him desperately. He needs to be on Mike Williams, and we need him healthy. We need him healthy. Unfortunately, also with the Washington Commanders defense, their run defense has been pretty bad. They have allowed. I'd have to look at the stats, but you're looking at a team that allows at least probably 4 to 5 yards per carry, and you're not going to win very many ball games, it's going to be very tough. You're putting a lot of pressure on your offense when you're allowing the other team to just run up the field at will. And so you can't allow Tampa Bay to have a good day on the ground, because then they're going to turn around, they're going to beat you with their number one receiver. So, Baker Mayfield, he's had an excellent year this year. So the Commanders are going to have to do something. The unfortunate thing is the Commanders are pretty bad, I feel like, on defense, which how ironic is that, having a defensive head coach, you would think, if anything, the defense would be where it should be. But again, this is first year, right? We were not even expecting this team to win more than 7 games this year. And so they've won 12. They're in the 6th seed of the postseason. And right now they're favored to beat Tampa. I think they're favored by 3 points. So outstanding, right? So, I'll say this. It's going to be a wild, no pun intended, it's going to be a wild game, I think, Sunday night. Win, lose, or draw, well, it can't be a draw, but win or lose, one thing is for certain. Dan Quinn has gotten this team turned around, and Adam Peters as well, but in the blink of an eye. And, I mean, Who expected this team to get turned around this quickly? None of us did. So my hat's off on to Adam Peters in the front office, the coaching staff with Dan Quinn, and the rest of the guys there. They have done an outstanding job getting this team turned around. And I would love to see this team win a playoff game. If it wound up just making it to the divisional round, hey man, guess what? That's excellent. That is excellent stuff. So, folks, let me know in the comments what you think in terms of what do they need to do in order to make sure that they stop Baker Mayfield and company, because I feel like it's going to come down to the offense. I think Tampa Bay's defense is banged up enough, especially in secondary. I think that Jaden Daniels and company can have a pretty good day. So it could be one of those shootout games. But I think it's really going to come down to what can the Commanders do to limit Baker Mayfield and company. They got to do something, right? All right, folks, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like, give it a share. I will see you in the next one.